Hey friends, happy new moon in Aries, barely, and happy solar eclipse. It is a very powerful hybrid solar eclipse that people down under are going to be able to witness. And I think my sun is just about to go away. Goodbye by a big cloud. The Idaho weather that we have been having is just, like many of us, it's transitioning. It doesn't know if it wants to be winter, if it wants it to be spring. It has no idea. We had snowstorms and hail yesterday, and then the most beautiful blue skies. And then it rained on my way home from work, and I just soaked up, I think, the last little moments here. But let's talk about eclipse season, because this is the third of this series of eclipses that began last year in May. Last year was the Taurus Scorpio eclipses that happened in May, again in November, and then this is the third of that series. And what I think is so interesting about tonight's solar eclipse is that it happens in Aries. So it's at the 29th degree of Aries, which is the final degree point in the, if the sky is divided into 12 zodiac signs, which I am going to be going through the mythology of the zodiac. I'll come back to that right here on my YouTube channel. But it's, 30 degrees times 12, you get the 360 degree of the sky. So this is our second new moon in Aries for this month of April 2023. The first one happened at, it was either 0 or 1 degrees, and this one's at 29 degrees. And so not only is there going to be an eclipse where the sun is going to block the light of the moon, they're calling it a hybrid eclipse because it will first have that ring of fire and then it's going to cover it entirely. So pretty spectacular. But just hours after this Aries eclipse, Jasper showing up to say hi. You saying hi? Just after this, literally hours after, the moon will move out of Aries and into Taurus. What? All the Tauruses out there. I'm a Taurus. It's going to move into Taurus, followed by the sun moving into Taurus. So it's really like this bridge between these two signs of the zodiac, and the lunar eclipse that is going to happen on May 5th to complete this eclipse cycle is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. So typically you have Aries, and directly across from Aries on the zodiac wheel is Libra. Those are opposing signs in our beautiful sky. And then it's typically Taurus, and directly, 6 houses away or 6 zodiac signs away is Scorpio. But this eclipse, I think it's interesting because I was just looking, I was like, well, what does this mean for all the rest of the moons of the year? And they're all going to be somewhat off, where the Taurus new moon will have a full moon not in Scorpio, but instead I believe it's in Sagittarius. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but I looked and it was all the way through the rest of the year that the zodiac signs are slightly off, which I find fascinating because we have entered into an experience here on planet Earth that nobody has had, who is currently walking, not in these forms, because Pluto moved into the sign of Aquarius just a couple, was that just 2 weeks ago? Very recently. Yeah. And Pluto has not been in the sign of Aquarius since the late 1700s. So since the French Revolution and the American independence war, our revolution. So major things happened 200 years ago. It's a little unsettling in times right now as well. One of the other energies with this in Taurus that Taurus is known for is the energy of our assets, our worth, our value, but also our financial assets and institutions. And it's just something to keep an eye on in a bigger perspective of what's happening globally right here in our country. But then what I really like to talk about is what this means for each person collectively. So last Saturday in my home, I had a lovely group of people over with Kim Harrison. We co-taught a class called Astrology and Numerology 101. And in that class, we worked up birth charts and the numbers for for everybody who participated. And what I told the participants, and I'm saying here, is that if you would like to know more about when people talk about astrology, what it means for you specifically, there's a couple things that you need to know. You need to know your exact time of birth on the planet, where you were born, and then your birth date and year. And you can get a chart. And when you have the chart pulled up, you can see, and there's lots of websites. My favorite one is Channing Nicholas's, so channingnicholas.com. But once you have your chart, it will show you what planets were where, and not just planets, but also luminaries, the sun. Most people know their sun sign. I was born in May. I am a Taurus, right? That my sun was in the sign of Taurus, the snapshot, the moment I took my first breath. My moon was also in Taurus, and Venus was in Taurus. So I am a Taurus girl, but an Aries rising. So anyhow, when you get this markup of this snapshot, like this photograph of the sky, the moment you took your birth, when you hear things that are happening, like this very exciting new moon and solar eclipse, and I call it exciting because it really feels like it is opening a brand new door, a brand new chapter, a new beginning. Not only because we have Pluto in a new sign, and there's all kinds of things happening that I won't get into here because I don't fully understand them myself, but this new time that we're entering into collectively also affects us personally. And we can look at our chart. Where is 29 degrees of Aries in our own chart? Do we have any planets nearby at the time of birth? What house was it in? There are also 12 houses. So there are 12 signs of the zodiac and 12 houses. And that can tell us a lot about our imprint here on earth, and what it is that our soul is carrying out, what it wants, what it came here to learn, or to offer, to teach, learn and grow, all those things. So I'm going to say one more time, the 29th degrees of Aries. And just because I recognized after teaching my class 101, I did not go over the astrological or the zodiac signs. The sign is, what does it mean to be an Aries? What does it mean to be a Taurus? What does it mean to be a Gemini? Like, what are the main, what are the mythologies behind it? What are the main characteristics and traits? And so I've decided that and I'm really excited about it, I'm going to launch a series called The Mythology of the Zodiac. So in between the new and the full moons, which I always post a video, just like some ramblings like this, about the new and the full moon and the energy and ways that we can embrace it and all of that. My intention, you hear that, universe? My intention is to, on the off weeks, to put up a video about the main players in whatever's being referenced. So for today, I've talked a lot about Aries because that is where the new moon happens, and then Taurus because immediately after, actually it's not where the new moon happens, it's where the solar eclipse happens, then the new moon. I guess the new moon is technically happening in Aries and then goes to Taurus. Anyhow, what it means, like where, Aries is, if you know mythology, perhaps there are some mythology geeks out there like myself that knows that Aries is the son of Zeus and Hera, and in the Roman mythology is known as Mars. And so Mars, the planet, is actually the ruling planet of Aries. But essentially what it means to be an Aries or an Aries rising is that very driven. It's the warrior. It is the go-getter, the jump in head first, I'll think later, just like charge, I'm going for it. And in this, so I'll be talking a little bit more about that, but I just wanted to give a little taste with Aries. Aries' sister is Athena. And Athena is one of the goddesses that has always been my favorite, not just because of her strength, but she was known as the goddess of war and wisdom. So I love that. So thinking about if you have Aries, if that is your sun sign, you are warrior-like, you are driven, you are let's go, let's move, let's not think, let's just do this already. So you can think about Athena if you know much about her, and I'll be expanding a little bit more in the next video. And the other idea that represents a Aries type goddess would be Amazonian women. You think about the Amazons, like these big, strong, powerful women that, you know, Wonder Woman is based off of the Amazonians and Wonder Woman is badass. So Aries are kind of badass women. So there's that spirit, there's that energy, but this is an eclipse. So an eclipse is different than a new moon in the sense that typically at a new moon, it's a really great time to hold these intention setting ceremonies and plant seeds. And yes, this is a new beginning. Yes, it is the second Aries new moon, which is odd also. However, it's because the sun, literally right now, the sun is so blocked out by these clouds, and that's what's going, the moon is going to get in the way of it. It's this darkness. The darkness is going to descend all across the earth. There is not going to be any visible sunlight for however many minutes it takes place. I haven't researched that, but in that darkness, it is a real calling to transformation. It is a real moment to think about what you are ready to let go of. And this started a long time ago. Again, I said this is the third in a series that started last May. And it is completing this series of three, what have been Taurus, Scorpio, but now it's this Aries, Scorpio eclipse season between the sun, the new moon and the full moon, and the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. And it is asking you, what are you done with? What has started that you've been thinking about for a long time and that you're processing through, that you're just absolutely ready to release, to let go of? The song that there are two that I'm associating with this eclipse. One is by Birdtalker and it's called Heavy. And the main chorus, it just sings, leave what's heavy behind. So I imagine this eclipse like a door, like a beautiful door of abundance, a magical door, the door of your dreams. And it's opening up and you're going to walk through this door one way or another. So you can bring all the baggage with you or you can let it go and start something new. A new way of being, a new way of showing up for yourself, perhaps showing up for your family, for your coworkers, for your friends, a new energy to carry forth. So it involves this transformation, and this one, yes, Jasper, every eclipse is a transformation. So, and this energy is just going to be felt, and it's going to be ongoing for a long time after the eclipse season, or the eclipses actually end. The energies last way longer than that. So just to sum up, eclipse happening tonight in a couple of hours, followed by the new moon, or the sun and the moon both moving into the sign of Taurus. One more woo woo for the Taurus. Taurus is earthly. Taurus is, and Aries is a fire sign, cardinal. It's a starter. Aries is a Taurus is a very earthy, stable. It is a fixed sign. It is an earth sign. I think I've just said that like 6 times. But it's like the creature comfort. It is our assets. It is our values. It is our worth. And I'll go more into Taurus because I have so much to say about Taurus in the next video. But that is not the end of this little next couple of days, because on Friday, Mercury is going to go retrograde in Taurus as well, at 15 degrees of Taurus. And whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it happens pretty much half the year Mercury's in retrograde. So it just can be like some wonky stuff. So just, when you hear about it, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something to be aware of. And I think that that's what astrology offers. So many things. Human design offers this, numerology, just looking for signs of the universe. The more that we learn about the energies that surround us and how they apply to us specifically, just kind of the more prepared we are for living a life of that comes from a place where we feel really grounded and we feel authentic, and that we are responding to the energies and not reacting to the energies. So there have already been a couple texts that I've sent this week where I was like, oh, whoa, yeah, I read that and I reread that and I still hit send. And then I was like, oh, that was really fiery. That was way more fiery than I normally am. So with retrogrades, Mercury rules over communication. And I'll be talking about Mercury. So again, I'll talk more about Aries, Taurus, Mercury. I'm going to talk about Pluto and potentially Saturn. I don't want to overwhelm too much. But this Mercury retrograde, it's over communication, like really thinking things through, knowing that there's going to be misfires, miscommunications. You might say something and it lands wrong on somebody, or you don't hear back from somebody because they felt like you said something this way and it meant to be that way. So all of that is at play right now. So just being aware of it is the thing that helps me, so that I can kind of be like, oh, there it is. There it is. That's how it showed up. And I can laugh about it. I can laugh at myself. I can ask for forgiveness if I need to. Or I could just be like, well, that's it. Or if something comes out of the blue, because that's the other thing, like Uranus is going to be a player in this who is already kind of like a, I don't know, I want to say disruptor, but like kind of an element of surprise. So there's so much happening right now and over the next couple of weeks until this closes out on May 5th and when I say close out, like the lunar eclipse will be on May 5th. Just there's a lot happening up there that affects us here because we're from there. We are divine beings that have chosen to come into this form here on earth to live out our life and to share our light, to understand ourselves, to help other people learn and grow and understand themselves better. And that's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. So I have rambled long enough. Thank you for listening. One last thing that I do not want to forget to mention is that starting, the date, 2 days after the lunar eclipse on May, I think it's 6th or 7th, whatever the Sunday is, I host a soul growth book club. We read a book a month, but over the summertime, we are going to embark once again on the Artist's Way. And when I say once again, it's because I have lots of friends who've gone through the Artist's Way with me. It's by Julia Cameron. It is a 12-week kind of program. And on May 6th or 7th, whatever the Sunday is, 2 to 4, we'll be meeting here in Boise in my house talking about it. I would love for you to have ahead of time purchase the book. I like the hard copy of the book. If you're local to Boise, Rediscovered Books, please support local. If you can, please support local bookstores. You can listen to the audio too. I actually have it on both. But if you can get a copy of the book and then get yourself a spiral notebook, it will make sense then. And if you want extra gold stars, read the introduction, because she's going to lay down some foundational elements, and we will be doing that as well. And then starting in May, we'll go week by week by week. We'll do 4 weeks, and then we will group up and meet in person. I realize that there are some people that watch these videos, thank you very much, who do not live in Boise. No problem whatsoever if you want to be a part of the Artist's Way. I am going to be creating a group of some kind, either using WhatsApp or Marco Polo, maybe Facebook groups. I haven't decided exactly what platform, but there is going to be a platform where we can have the weekly discussions, because the thing with this book, it is transformational. And there could not be a better book to accompany a transformational time in our lives, which is what this eclipse season, this portal, this new door, this, what are you taking with you? What are you leaving behind? How are you going to be on the other side of this eclipse? Age of Aquarius. I mean, so much cool stuff. Then this book, The Artist's Way, I love how it's designed. I love how she really questions you to examine yourself, where, the parts of yourself that you've lost touch with, that you want to reconnect with, the parts of yourself that you want to show up more as. It's just a book and it helps you love yourself. This book has been transformational as I have grappled with loneliness and being midlife and single. Things that I never expected for myself. This book has been foundational in helping me through that. So I really, really hope you would consider joining us for the Artist's Way book study. And that's it for now. So I'm wishing you just lots of courage and authenticity, to be courageously authentic as we move through this wonky kind of experimental new energy for all of us here on this planet. What's it going to be like for the next couple weeks? And just remember to give yourself grace. Lots of rest. Taurus wants you to rest. Aries wants you to go, go, go. Taurus is like, okay, that was good. Let's pull up the covers and let's rest. So if your body is tired, listen. Take some time for yourself to just be. You'll be happier and probably more productive too. So wishing you courage, strength, humility, so much gratitude for everything that you have that is going well when it's going well in your life. And I thank you for listening. And I'll see you real soon with some mythology of the zodiac. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.